الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذ قال موسى لقومه إن الله يأمركم أن تذبحوا بقرة قالوا أتتخذنا هزوا قال أعوذ بالله أن أكون من الجاهلين صدق الله العظيم. Regarding ayat number 67 of Surat al-Baqarah, which is actually a continuation of the previous bayan, related to the qissa and the story of the Baqarah. The nature of greed was already mentioned, and the reality of human greed. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us human beings to make use of this dunya, to make use of this world. Before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam alayhi salam, the first human being, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the malaika, told the angels, Inni ja'ilun fil ardi khalifa. I'm going to make in this earth my khalifa, my vicegerent, a creation that will utilize this earth in accordance to how I command him or how I command them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then created Adam alayhi salam, the first human being from the clay of this earth. And all of the qualities necessary for survival on this earth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put in the very fitrah and the nature of Adam alayhi salam. That nature passed on to each and every human being. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then created within us human beings a kind of zeal to expand upon the life of this dunya, the life in this world, how we can make it better, how we can make it more comfortable, how we can make this world a kind of utopia, a kind of perfect world for us. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created within each and every human being this kind of zeal, this kind of shauq, this want and desire to make a perfect world, make a perfect life. And that was ignited in the heart of every single human being. Each and every one of us, whatever stages we've been through in our lives, our goal at every stage was how we can make our life better. That every single day we're striving towards some dream that we have. Every single human being has their own ideas of what is a utopia, what is a perfect world. And this was encoded in the very genetics of Adam alayhi salam when he was allowed to live in Jannah, in paradise. So without this zeal, without this want, without this desire to expand upon the life of this dunya, we human beings will almost lose our purpose in life. We'll lose our reasoning for survival or for living. And we find in cases in the 21st century, in this time and age, people who have lost their zeal to live. Because they've lost their purpose in life, they've lost any kind of taste or value for this dunya, for this world. And that is brought upon by various factors, the least of which is the stress and depression which everyone can sense. Then people start becoming hopeless, and from that hopelessness, people start to get suicidal thoughts and they leave this dunya. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save and protect all of us. It's a reality of the 21st century that people have lost the will to live. But that is the extinction or the loss of that life. This is the loss of the battery. So inshallah, we put new batteries inshallah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. So that is the loss of that spark or that desire to live, that spark and desire to survive, that spark of progress. But this zeal and desire to live, if it is utilized in the proper way, it can become a means of success in this dunya, in this world, and a means of success for a person in the akhirah and the hereafter. Because with this we can understand that there needs to be a balance, and that balance can only be found in the deen of Islam, this beautiful religion, this way of life that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us. And that has, this beautiful deen of Islam, it has the balance, or strikes that perfect balance of living in the material world and also taking care of the spiritual side of life. If that spark or that zeal is not kept in check, it is not tamed, it is not controlled, so it can lead to various kinds of qualities that can become very disastrous for a human being. Amongst them is jealousy, hatred, greed. These are such qualities, and there are a few others. These are such qualities that when they develop in the heart or the mind of a person, they can destroy the life of this person in this dunya, in this world, and in the akhirah. The worst or most dangerous of these being greed and jealousy. When a person becomes greedy and he's not keeping that greed in check, then he makes everything halal for himself or herself. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has even cursed such people. وَيْلٌ لِكُلِّ هُمَّزَةٍ لُمَزَةٍ الَّذِي جَمَعَ مَالًا وَعَدَّدَهُ يَحْسَبُ أَنَّ مَالَهُ أَخْلَدَهُ. That person who has that level of greed, that he will do anything and go to any length to accumulate the material things of this world. Whether he has to develop the qualities of humaza and lumaza, or he has to go around slandering people, backbiting on people. He has to go around destroying the lives of people. As long as he's benefiting or he's able to take what they have through lying and cheating and deceit, so he makes that okay for himself. الَّذِي جَمَعَ مَالًا وَعَدَّدَهُ. He's such a person that gathers his wealth and he's always counting his wealth. There used to be a time where you had physical counting. Now you put in your username and password and it'll give you how much you know. Now you just feel happy that there are numbers there. So this is addada, always counting, always checking, always worried about this. يَحْسَبُ أَنَّ مَالَهُ أَخْلَدَهُ. He thinks that his wealth is eternal or is always with him. It will make him eternal also. Which means he makes the whole purpose of his life the material things of this dunya. This greed, it is very, very dangerous. And this is the story of the Baqarah also. That this youth, he got this greed inside him. A little bit mixed with jealousy also. He couldn't even wait for his uncle to die. He knew that he was heir to the wealth, so he went and took care of his uncle. He killed his own uncle for this wealth. And we might think it's something strange, but even in this time and age, how many people kill their family members over wealth? Sometimes petty little issues. It's not even that large amount. But they're ready to go to lengths to either kill even their family members or even torture their family members. Even a few weeks back, it was in the news, an incident that there were some brothers back home in one of the countries. Their father had passed away and he had many properties. So the shares were distributed. So their sister also got a share. So what they did is they locked their sister inside a room for 15 years. They didn't let her out of that room so that she may not give that property to someone else or sell it or do anything else with it, take benefit from it. And they went and they squandered that wealth from her. And locking her like this, leaving her in such a cage. And this is the reality of human greed. It can destroy lives and it can destroy people. And it doesn't have any loyalty to anyone, even family members. It doesn't understand loyalty. It doesn't understand huquq or rights. And this is not one case. How many cases there are? Over wealth, over properties, over homes. People get into skirmish. Skirmish turns into an argument. Argument turns into murder. How far we human beings we can go. Over what? This human greed. So this is what the deen of Islam, it has come to keep us in check. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this beautiful deen of Islam has given us a very beautiful system. One, the system of zakah. The second, the system of sadaqah, to give charity, to help the poor. Also the system of keeping good company, the company of righteous people. Also fasting. In the month of Ramadan is made a faridah. Some of these things are faraid, zakah is faridah. Fasting in the month of Ramadan is faridah. This controls the desires, it controls the greed. Also standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala 5 times a day, the salah, it is faridah. It develops within a person taqwa, fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are things that can keep these dangerous qualities in check. And once they're in check, they can become very beneficial. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us human beings with amazing qualities. It has immense benefit, but it also has great harm. And this is the nature of the material things of this dunya. On one side, they can become very beneficial. And on the other side, they can cause havoc and destruction. I mean, you just take nuclear energy, how beneficial. We have electricity 24 hours. We have how many other benefits we have from the nuclear power reactors. But on the other side, if it is used or it is weaponized, we know how dangerous those weapons can be. How many lives they can finish in a matter of minutes. In seconds, how many lives can be lost. So that is the nature of the material things of this dunya. And that is the nature of us human beings also. On one side, immense benefit. On the other side, extreme harm and destruction. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even named Surat Baqarah after this qissa and this story, that we may be able to learn the lessons from this story. That on one side, it can completely destroy your life. Also remember one thing. A jealous person, he burns twice. He burns in this dunya and he also burns in the akhirah. In this dunya, in this world, the jealous person is always burning, because every time he thinks of the person or people he is jealous of, so inside he's burning. And in the akhirah, they will also burn because of this quality of jealousy. This jealousy, it burns away the a'mal, the righteous deeds. This is the reality of jealousy, being jealous. Hasad, very, very dangerous. And the effect of a hasid, a dangerous person, it can go very far. That is why even in the Quran, we as believers were taught to seek the refuge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to seek the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, min sharri hasidin idha hasad, from the evil of every jealous person, idha hasad, when they act on their jealousy. When they're acting on the jealousy, it starts from the evil eye. We call it nazar or ayn. It can destroy people. And then it goes further and further. People plot and how they destroy the people they're jealous of. So that is why we should be very, very careful. Another thing, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does bless us, we should be very, very careful how we display those blessings. In front of who we display those blessings. We should keep our simple life. Yes, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us, live to your standard, but don't do to such an extent in front of people that will become jealous of you. It should not be that we start living like very poor people. No. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us, we're also told in the Quran, وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses you with some ni'mah, also show that. You should display. We should not become too extravagant and too lavish. But yes, we should not be so far below our level. There was a person, at the time of Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi alayhi, the tabi tabi'in and the mashayikh and the ulama of the past, the salaf, the righteous ulama of the past, that They used to have a very beautiful way of helping people. So Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi alayhi, whenever someone used to come into the masjid and he used to realize that this person needed help, so he used to have a small kind of carpet in one corner of the masjid, and he would always put some money or some gift under there. So if he saw some person who needed sadaqah, so he used to call the person and tell him, someone has left a gift for you, it's under there, just take it. They used to show person respect, so someone would not feel that, someone is giving them a disgrace or putting them down. So it happened one day, some man walked in and Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi realized this person, he looks like he needs help. So he called the person after the dars, after they had their lesson or their class, he called the person, he said, go, there's somebody left you a gift under there. And the man looked at him, he said, who knows me? He said, don't worry, just somebody left you something, take it. So the man went and he saw that it was money, and the man got the idea that, oh, this is sadaqah. So he came to Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah and he said, I'm a very wealthy person. I don't need charity. So Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi alayhi looked at him and said, if you're so wealthy, why you dress like, why you look like this? This is also amongst kufr, being ungrateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses you and you look like this. You should just at least show that you have something. Not this much that the man said, I'm doing zuhud. He said, yes, and what you're doing is not zuhud. Zuhud means that there was a group of awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They used to live a very, very simple life with no real means of the dunya. They used to kind of give up this world. A type of zuhud means keep yourself away from, put yourself through a little bit difficulty in this dunya. Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi alayhi told him, you misunderstand the word zuhud. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses a wealthy person, his zuhud is that while being in the wealth, he doesn't allow that wealth to get into his heart. It's not that on the outside he looks like he's broken or something. No, it's inside. He doesn't let that wealth get inside his heart. He said, yes, you should display something at least. But at the same time, we should be careful who we display. Don't go in front of a poor person and start flashing your wealth. And that person, how much you'll hurt him. And they also develop jealousy and hatred. So this is something that should be kept within check. And this is something that the Deen of Islam teaches us very, very beautifully. That if you have more than your means, then help people. Get in the habit of giving sadaqah. Even if it's very little bit. But that will break that greed, that will break that jealousy that is inside. So this is one lesson that is taken from this story of the Baqarah. That the greed is very dangerous and it should be checked. Also remember one thing. A greedy person who plots to harm people, or he plans to hurt people, the people that he's jealous of or he's greedy of, that person will never win. In fact, he will definitely always be at loss. So this nephew who killed his uncle for the wealth, first of all, he didn't even get the wealth. Because all that wealth went to the people who had the Baqarah, as I told you the story already. Number one. Second, this youth this nephew who killed his uncle, when it became clear that he was the murderer, so the Sharia was very clear that you have to kill the person who commits murder. So he was also put to death. So at the end of the day, his own greed killed him. And this is the second lesson that is taken. That sometimes you think you're so smart, you're so cunning, but your own greed will kill you. There's no benefit to being greedy in this dunya, to being greedy in this world. The reality of greed of this dunya, it's very, very dangerous. And the material things of this dunya, we should always understand that they will never ever make us satisfied. That's not the nature of the material things of this world. The material things of this dunya, they're like salt water. The more you drink, the thirstier you get. And I like to give this example. There was a time where $10 and we were king. Then a time came where $100 and we were king, Then a time came where $1,000 and we were king. And now where are we? Somebody gives us $1 million and we're thinking of 10 million, And you go ask the wealthiest people in the world, they have $1 billion and they're thinking how to conquer the next country, This is the reality of the nature of the material things of this dunya. It never ends. Even Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam has told us that the only thing that will, and again, not the exact words of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the hadith comes something to the effect That the only thing that can quench the thirst of the stomach, or the only thing that can quench the hunger of the stomach of Bani Adam, is the dirt of his grave. No matter how many kingdoms you have, no matter how much wealth you have, the sakina is not in these things, The time of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, when he was the Khalifa, so the Persians, they sent a delegation that go, there was a war coming between the Persian army and the Muslims. For those who are familiar with the history, I'm not going to go into the details. So they sent a delegation that go and find this, find out about this Khalifa, find out about the lives of the Muslim, meet with the Khalifa, let's see if we can have diplomacy. So the delegation came. They started asking, where is the palace of the Khalifa? The people told them, what are you talking about? Sahaba, they were like, what palace? What do you mean? They said, where's the Khalifa? They said, there's the masjid, go find him. You'll find him there, So they were surprised. They said, what? They went to the masjid. So they came inside the masjid and they saw the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. They were looking around. They said, which one is the Khalifa, So they asked one Sahabi, they said, where is the Khalifa? Sahabi realized these people are lost. He said, who are you looking for? They said, we're looking for the Khalifa. Well, we don't see anybody with the crown and the clothing. Where is he? Which one is he? Sahabi said, well, you see, Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu that you're looking for, he finished his meeting. They used to have meetings sunrise, midday, there's time. He said, the affairs of the affairs of the community have been taken care of. So he went outside to go find his camel. Somebody told him that his camel ran into the desert. So he went out to the desert to find his camel. So they got surprised. They said, he doesn't even have someone to go find his camel for him? He said, yeah, he does, but it's simple. He wanted to go find his own camel, And that's his camel, so he does his own work. They got surprised. A Khalifa ruling how much of the dunya, how much of the world, he's going for his own camel. But they said, when will he be back? Sahabi said, I don't know, but he went that way. If you want, I can take you. So they said, okay. So they went. It was midday, So they went into the desert. After some distance, there was a tree. And the camel was tied around the tree, and at the stump of the tree, Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, he was sleeping, Qaylula, the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So the delegation, they said, this is Khalifa. He said, yeah, this is Khalifa. I think he found his camel, but he's sleeping now. When he wakes up, you can talk to him. They said, where is his protocol? Where is his security? Where is his, He's sleeping just like this. What if someone comes and kills him? He says, so someone will kill him. The Sahabi said, so someone will come and kill him. This is not, he hasn't done anything wrong to anyone. Why would someone want to kill him? The delegation was surprised. They say, he can sleep like this. They said, our king, he has the softest bed. He has to have specially made bed. And he has to have specially made pillow, And he can't sleep. And this in the heat of the sun, on this hard ground, with his head on the stump of the tree, he's sleeping. What is this? So Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, he woke up, he saw the delegation, he said, how can I help you? And they had their discussion. So the delegation was just surprised. They were surprised by his intellect, by his intelligence, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given him. So they went back and they gave the report. And they came to when they came to the king of Persia, they said, these people you're fighting, they're very strange. So first of all, they have found the secret to contentment. He was sleeping in the middle of the desert on a tree. And he has such an army that no one has defeated his army yet. Not only that, he didn't have any security, and he went to go find his own camel. He has his own servant, but he told his servant that it's too hot, so he left his servant. He didn't want his servant to work more than that. And the king was surprised. He said, if this is the case of what you're explaining, if that is their Khalifa, then how the soldiers must be. We have to be very careful in dealing with these people. They had a simple life, and at the same time, they found that contentment. And the way they found that contentment is in the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not in the material things of this world. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu was famous about him, that the food he used to eat, the Sahaba did not want to eat with him. The meat was very hard and the food was very rough kind of food. He used to eat very simple food, even though he had all the treasures of the world at his feet. When they used to ask him, why you live like this, so difficult life, he used to tell them that I'm not worried, these things don't matter, What matters is if we make it into Jannah. And a man of that caliber, he used to say that if I have one foot in Jannah, I'm not content that I'll be able to make the other foot inside, how much they gave for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that was the kind of mentality that they had. What mentality we have? We feel like we own Jannah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us. And this is the reality. So to break this greed, first you have to break your arrogance. And then you also have to understand how to keep yourself very, very simple. Don't ever think you're better than other people. And this greed, it is very, very dangerous. The people who have the material things of this world, go find out what kind of life they live. Some of them don't have any purpose in their life. Some of them cannot find peace of mind. Some of them, they're so busy they don't even have time to use the restroom properly. And how much can they have? With all that wealth, they still wear one pair of clothing. With all that wealth, how much can they eat? They still eat the fast food burger. They had this one interview, they were a documentary of one of the wealthiest men in the world today. The second or third, what is it, Warren Buffett or something. And they were showing it in the morning. He was showing them his daily life. So in the morning, he was sitting in his expensive car and he was going through the drive-thru of McDonald's, And he started talking to them that today I ordered this biscuit $2 and something cents because the market was up or the market was down. I said, subhanAllah. This man is a billionaire and he's eating McDonald's, This is, we think how much people think that what wealth will get you. The same food they're eating like everyone else is eating. It's not like they're eating gold and silver and everybody else is eating something else. This is the reality of wealth. Use that wealth to get your Jannah. Use that wealth to build your Jannah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with wealth, make that wealth a means of hidayah and guidance for us. Otherwise, if you let that greed come, it will destroy you. Never let that greed get inside the heart. Then we'll be able to enjoy life. Otherwise, we'll be burning inside. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us this understanding and give all of us the tawfiq to practice His deen. There are many, many lessons in this story. We'll go over some of them. This was just the first lesson. Don't let that greed destroy you. And don't let that greed turn into jealousy that it completely ruins you. So this is the first lesson that we have to understand. If we really want to find contentment, go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You'll find contentment there. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَتَطْمَئِنُّ قُلُوبُهُمْ بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ أَلَا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبِ. The believers, they are those who their hearts find contentment in the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the reality is that real contentment is, and the hearts find itminan. We have to do tafseer of this word. Tatma'innul qulub. It's a very unique term. Inshallah tomorrow. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us the tawfiq to practice His deen. Wa ma alayna illa al-balagh. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen. وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم نور قلوبنا بالقرآن وزين أخلاقنا بالقرآن ونجنا من النار بالقرآن وادخلنا في الجنة بالقرآن. اللهم اجعل القرآن لنا في الدنيا قرينا وفي القبر مونسا وعلى الصراط نورا وفي الجنة رفيقا ومن النار سترا وحجابا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. سبحان الله وبحمده.